everyone, Christine here from Unique Sapphire. So glad to see you here. Today, we're dyeing cotton yarn. You asked for it, I'm doing it. I'm so super excited to get back into the dye pot. But let me tell you this, what you saw in the intro is a must-do with any plant-based yarn, no matter what it is. You want to know why? Because manufacturers put wax and other products on there to get those plant-based fibers all straight. If you're a spinner, you know that all of it has to go straight before it can get wound into a yarn and plied. So, what you saw in the intro was me placing a large amount of water so they float into the pot, adding a little bit of a mild detergent, and simmering it on the stove. My base is classified a bright white Pima cotton, so I simmered it for a little over a half hour. Now, I've had cotton and linen blends that are pretty nasty, and I've had to simmer them for over an hour and rinse and rinse and rinse to get all that out of there. That is a must do. I know you've seen it. I know you've Googled it probably on how to dye cotton or plant-based yarn, but the cleaner that you can get all that material out of there that the manufacturers put into the yarn in order to make it a yarn, the better off you're going to be. The less muted your colors are going to be, but that also depends on your dyes that you're using. The dyes that I'm using, I'm not going to be utilizing a water bath. If you followed me before, you've seen me lay them out on a table with plastic wrap and then just let them sit. So that's the type of dyes that I'm using. And you, again, if you followed me, you know my Pima cottons are bright. They're out there. They're loud. The colors are bold and rich and just gorgeous. So if you want more muted dye, then yes, I would tell you to dye bath it. But today we're not dye bathing it because I love lots of color and I cannot wait. The sun is shining outside. I'm sitting here with my cup of coffee waiting for that to cool a little bit so I can handle it without getting burnt. My dyes are right here, so I'm going to conjure up what colors we're going to do today. So as you can see, my water's not that dirty, but yet it has a little bit of a tinge to it. Let's get this straight. It's still super piping hot. Plop. And I'm going to let that sit because I'm not getting burnt. All right, now's the time that we need to rinse these. I let them cool a little bit. But we need to rinse these very well. And for my purposes, I'm going to get them all straightened out like so they're nice. And I'm just going to wind them up a little bit so I can actually wring them out pretty good because I don't want them too wet, but I don't want them to dry. And when they're tinier like this, you can easily handle them. And then what I'm going to do is, you remember these? You can find them on Amazon. They're like trays for like a buffet table. So what I'm going to do is arrange them in here and we'll be back to dye. I know the sun's out, so we got a little bit of glare going on. Gonna reach over. Yeah, you can tell my dye towels are dyed. All right, I arranged a few in one pot and I mixed up two colors so far. And again, it depends on what type of dye that you use on how you mix it. And I've always played with my dyes and mixed two different colors together to make another color. So have fun with it, as long as you know your color wheel so you don't make muddy waters. So, first color. and I want it to be springy. And I want to saturate it very well. Because this is cotton, make sure that we're getting it all the way down. And there's a little... If you miss a few spots, that's what makes it unique, makes it your own. Oops, just hit the camera again. See, I'm out of practice. I'll get there. Trust me, I'll get there. So if you guessed it, I watered this down. It is supposed to be a bright orange. I wanted it more of a... I wanted a peach, but I wanted it not a muted peach. I wanted something bright, springy, something that'll pop. So, started off with a muted down orange. So what's next, Christine, huh? Now if I can get it mixed up so I don't get spots. And as you can tell, the excess dye that's laying in the bottom is coming through. So that's why you want to use complementary colors. If not, you're going to make a new color or you're going to make mud. You don't want to make mud. So. Now I'm not going to go hog wild with this one. Always wear gloves, ladies and gentlemen. If not, you'll have every color of the rainbow hands and fingernails. And to some, that might be an accomplishment or a fashion statement, whatever you want to go by. But yeah, not for me. Not a fashion statement at all. All right. So now that I got that color in, what I'm going to do is, see, I have half a bottle of dye left. I'm going to add a little bit more dye to this, but a different color of dye to do the ends. What do you think? All right, so yes, I decided to add a little bit more dye to my second color here. No rhyme or reason, just a little bit darker. Almost like cantaloupe and watermelon together. And of course, turn your work so that way here you don't have really light spots where you don't want them. And I got a little bit up there, that's fine. You want to bleed it out? Bleed it out. How do you think I came up with half of the colorways? Using my imagination, being creative. I know it's been tough this year trying to be creative with anything out there. And that's what I come up with today. Just a quick little, now that's only a few of the skeins. You know, I can add more, I could do whatever at this point. If I wanted to make a few splotches and dribble, I could dribble. I mean, it's completely up to you. You're the one, if you're going to dye anything, you're the one that controls it. And each skein is going to be unique in a certain sense. If you want to do this professionally, you have to learn how to take very good notes and so you can recreate it. If you want to be like a machine and just keep recreating the same old. And trust me, I've done it for years. Sometimes the same old is not that fun, you know? And you gotta break out of that proverbial box. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna see how the colors start. But I have another batch because this is only 2 skeins. So let's see what I can come up with that one. Bonus! And for the bonus round, let's get started. Now I arranged these ones a little bit differently than the other ones, and we can explain that a little bit further. I think I've explained it somewhat in the past, but that's how you would find your color repeat. Only you would know your color repeat unless you watch how to find my color repeat and see how things are dyed. So that's what's one fun thing to learn, and then you can learn how the yarn is going to pull or not pull. So let's see what I got mixed up here. Ooh. Again, there we go, I hit the camera again, I know. I don't want too much just on the top, that's why you move it around and play with it. And again, my skeins are damp. They're not soaping and sopping in water. It's dry down here. So that's why you have to move it around in order to make sure that you're getting the right coverage. So that way here your colorway stays intact. If you want to plan pull something or if you don't want it to pull. All depends on your project. Now this is a stormy gray. I kind of like it. It's kind of like a light blue gray, silverish, something fun, something, you know, not too outrageous. If I wanted something muted, I could leave it like that. But I do have something kind of bright in mind. Now I'm debating. Decisions. See, this is what is somewhat challenging when you go, oh, look at that. Can you see that? That might work. Just a little. Oh, look at that. Can you see that? And that's why I said, you know, people who dye yarn, it's not just something easy to do because you can make somebody looking ick to be, you know, for sure. I like that green with that gray. That looks pretty. Need some down in there. Need some in there. Now for this one, I'm not trying to totally saturate and have it completely blend, but it'll be cool if it did. I'm trying to be controlled on this because I don't want to lose my gray in with that green color. You know, I like it like that. You know, a little bit of blending's fine. Again, you have to know your color wheel so that you don't make mud. You make mud, then you have to live with mud. Or let the kids come in all muddy. One of the two. And again, believe it or not, this green is actually a lime green that I doctored up because why buy a ton of colors? If you know your color wheel, you can actually make a ton of colors out of just a few dyes that you have. And I have a lot of dyes, so. And that's where the artistic behavior comes into a little bit, you know? use what you have. So what do you think? I like it. I like it a lot. Now I could have added a pink to it, but I have that orange and cantaloupe and watermelon looking color. Now this is a neutral. We'll see how I like it. See how you can change a color by adding a neutral? I diluted it just a little bit, my green color. Moving my yarn here, without trying to get in your way so you can see this. So now I have a different tone in my color. So you see how bright this is? Just by adding that neutral, and I will tell you it was an ecru color, okay? Because this was being so bright white, by adding that ecru color, the little beige, muting down, watering down my lime, which is not really lime, as you can tell. Gives a little bit of dimension, playing off the same color, but making a different color, a lighter color, a complementary color, if you will. So I think I'm happy with that. Because I like the variances. It doesn't have to be a solid, you know? Doesn't have to. That's what makes it unique. Makes it different from everyone else. If everyone dyed the same yarn, it would be a boring world. The same colors over and over again. So now I'm going to cover these and I'm going to let them sit. All right, guys, there you have it. Yes, I'm going to let it sit there. I'm going to wash it, rinse it very well. Because I'm using a reactive dye for the cotton. And I find the longer that I let it sit, I test it. I can rinse a little spot off of one of the skeins. See how bright that color is after all the washing and have it set in. That way here it doesn't fade too much, you know? So it's trial and error with cotton because, like I said before, you can get really muted tones, but it's completely up to you and also the dyer and what the end result you're looking for. And as you know, I love bold colors, brights. It's going to be spring and summer. So I hope you learned something. If not, leave a comment if I've left anything out. I mean, I know there's other mordants out there that you can add to different dyes. You know, salt being one of them, and a whole other bunch of chemicals that I won't even go into because I don't want to breathe that in. I have enough allergy problems, and I don't know what the long-term result of any of those chemicals, because sometimes if you do a natural dye, some of those chemicals can be pretty toxic in their powdered form. So you have to take precautions. So if you want to learn more, let me know about that subject. But like I said, I personally do not want to inhale and just be around, touch, whatever, some of those mordants that are used for natural dyes. But I'm hoping to do some natural dyeing that doesn't take any really toxic Mortons to take a hold. And that'll be something for when the flowers and berries and all the good stuff come out. That's why I can't wait for spring. And yes, in 2 days it's going to be 60 degrees here. I'm hoping it sticks. And then we'll be outside. All right. You want to see the finished product? It'll be at the end of this. So as always, please like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for when I post a new video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.